Guys, it's finally here. The Kraton 6X full option roller. It came in this box. Now this box is in here. We'll take a quick look at the box. Very nice box. Very good pictures. Very high resolution on the box. I'd say this box is a 4K box. All right, let's go ahead and open this box. It's a little tight. There it is. There goes the box. All right, so it came with this bag here, which has some stuff in it. Looks like some shock pieces, maybe tune the shocks. Go and open it up. And a tool set, pretty nice tool set. That is the biggest wrench I've ever gotten with an RC car by far. Is that a 17 millimeter? It sure is, it's labeled, I like that. Wow, quality. And then we got, I think those are shock pieces. And we got shims. Shims to use if required. Well, that's funny because I actually ordered some of these differential shims. Arrma is sending you the shims now. Wow, they know. They've figured it out. That's good to know. Some stickers, some extra screws, and the manual because who needs that? Anyways, back to the car. Okay, so it's in here and the tires are stuck in this cardboard, so I'm just gonna take the car out. Now everything's falling. So this is the roller, so you don't get any electronics or transmitter or anything like that. Wow, this thing is bigger than I expected. That's awesome. It dwarfs my little Max. Look at the size of those tires. Oh, and they're very soft and grippy. I'm glad it's as big as it is. I really wanted something bigger to be able to see the tires more for doing stunts and whatnot. I do see some aluminum peeking out there. Oh, this thing is sweet. Oh yeah. Nice bumper. These control arms are huge. Don't just bash, blast. It says on the bottom of it, if you can read this, just send it. Original Arrma Motorworks. So big aluminum chassis. It's got a skid plate on the front. See how the differentials feel. Oh, they're really loose. Yeah, I can see why people want to tighten those up and put some heavier oil. That's like a wide open diff. Ball joints are interesting. Steel CVs. Looks like kind of pretty good turning radius. Not sure what servo I want to put in here yet. I got a couple I want to try. See how the rear diff feels. Rear diff is just as loose as the front. And let's pop the body off. It has these nice body pin retainer rubber thingies. My lighting could be better for this video, huh guys? Someone's gonna complain about that. Whoa, look at all the aluminum. Oh, that's very pretty. It's got like a little roll cage thing, aluminum servo mount, aluminum braces, steel CVs out of the transmission. This thing is pretty cool. One thing I haven't seen yet is the pinion gears. I might have to order one of those. I don't have one. I like these mud flaps built in here to keep the inside of here a little cleaner. That's cool. So let's see if we can hold the spur gear and test the center diff. Okay, the center diff actually has some pretty good limited slip going on. The front and rear diffs seem totally open. Do a drop test. Oh, didn't even bottom out. All right, so I'm setting up my Kraton EBX. And everyone says to check the diffs, so obviously I'm gonna do it. Pretty easy to get the diff out. You just take off the skid plate, take off the sway bar right here, take off those two links on the bottom really quick, and then you take off the 4 screws that hold the diff in there, right there, and take your shocks, flip them out of the way so they don't hit your axles, and then the whole assembly comes out this way. And then you take out these 4 screws to open up to where the spider gears and the side gears are. There's actually a good amount of fluid in mine. I'm gonna add some more. I'm gonna add some 30K. Then I'm gonna do 200K in the center. While I'm in here, I did buy some diff shims. So I'm gonna try to tighten up a little bit, get a little more limited slip because it did feel pretty loose. From Arrma, it had 1 side gear shim on it. So that was right here, which is great. And then Arrma also included a bag with 4 more. So I'm gonna try to put 2 on each diff. But just being 1 on there, this diff probably would have been fine for 5S, 6S like I'm gonna run. You're gonna do 8S, everyone says you need to do 2. So I'll try to put 2 in there. If it's a real pain in the butt, I'm just gonna leave the 1. So yeah, just wanted to give you guys a little update. So far, very nice to work on. Having a drill with some small Allen drivers makes it a lot easier. Did my best to try to add some additional shims inside the differential, either behind this side gear or the other, and I was not able to assemble the differential with additional shims. I couldn't get the pin through. So the pin on the bottom has a little hole in the side of the carrier right here, and you have to slide the pin all the way through, and that's what engages that gear. You can't get the pin in with even a single shim. So maybe if there was a shim half that thickness, it would work, but that's the thinnest ones I was given here, and I could not get them in there. So I think with the EBX, it is what it is. As far as the diff, all you can do is put some thicker fluid in it. All right, guys, so I got the Kraton put together. A few things I noticed. Some people actually noticed it, and then I noticed it too. There's a lot of things on here that they did a great job with, like these big beefy aluminum supports, these big giant bottom A-arms, and then there's other things that they just totally missed, whereas the Traxxas, they'd have done some more testing. It looks like Arrma does listen to the customers, right? They did shim the differentials better and things like that out of the box. So, I appreciate that they're on the forums listening to their people and whatnot, but the top A-arms here are okay, right? They look pretty beefy, but these back ones are just typical RC turnbuckle style. I'm gonna break those. And all the bolts are single shear. I'm gonna break those. The tie rods are super puny, and they were already snapped off from the factory where the ball was sitting down too far. The steering's got like a weird little tick in it. Don't know what that's about. It's obviously made to run a way bigger battery than the 3S. I'm just testing out on that. Things that they did well, though, the motor bolts in well. It's very adjustable, easy to set your gear mesh. There's your ring and pinion. Plenty of room for a speed controller in here. You can actually put a bigger one. Nice big battery box. I was able to tuck all my extra cables in the battery box. I like that. It's very clean. Smart antenna setup. This little roll cage piece has some pins that slide out so you can take it off easily. Pretty good layout. That's where I put my switch. And the Hobby Wing speed controller, the Max 8, was really easy to program and set up with a little card it came with. You just plug this into the port for your fan with the supplied cable. The port is right here. I made it where mine was easy to get to because I like to change settings. But I just kind of wish I'd have got the X Max at this point. This car does look a little more serious, like lower center of gravity. You can change your alignment and stuff like that better than the X Max, I guess. But the X Max just seems like, number one, it's way bigger and it's way more well sorted. This was pretty cheap. I got it on Black Friday under $400. Then I put a couple $100 in electronics. I'm using an old Spectrum controller I had around, a pretty cheap servo. So it's, it's a lot cheaper than an X Max, but it doesn't feel like it's had the amount of testing that went into it and doesn't seem as well sorted. But hopefully it'll be fast and it'll be more, race car-y, as far as it's like wheelbase to height ratio and things like that. It is really pretty. The aluminum is nice to look at, but I like plastic because it bends itself back. Like these nice little spool spacers here. So we're going to test it out, see how it does. We're going to do 3S and then 4S, and then maybe 5 or 6S. 5S is kind of a weird one. The speed controller doesn't like 5S. You can't use your low voltage protection with 5S, so I'll probably just go 6S. But I did get a nice 3S pack for it. It fits a huge battery pack. This thing is on like slides and it sticks up to about here. So you could stack 2 big batteries here if you wanted to get really good really good runtime. But I don't think I'm going to use it as hardcore as some of these guys that do like 70 mile an hour, 400 foot jumps. So it might be reliable for me. Like I said earlier, tearing down the diffs was really not worth it. If I was going to do it again, I'd probably just do the center diff and just put the heavier fluid in it. I didn't get much out of putting the heavier fluid in the front and rear diffs. Limited slip's still pretty minimal, especially compared to the Max and X Max, which have pretty decent limited slip out of the box. So this car already required a lot more work just to get set up, and I still don't think it's going to be as good as the Traxxas, which is funny because I used to hate Traxxas. But anyways, these sway bars, I don't know what you guys think, if they do anything or not. I played with them with the shocks off, and when you lift this wheel all the way up, it does start to lift this A-arm with the spring gone. So maybe they do a little something, but they're kind of annoying and they get in the way, and I don't think they do anything. So I'm probably going to delete them. But yeah, so we're going to go run it now, and I'm pretty excited to see how she does. All right, so I just put the first battery through it. A few observations. Handle's really good. Suspension's impressive. Definitely takes turns better than a Max or an X Max. I'm running a Hobby Wing 4274 220 kV motor, pretty mild setup, and and the Max 8, and a 3000 milliamp or 3500 milliamp 4S. Battery, pretty warm, but fine. Speed controller, totally cool, not working hard at all. Motor, pretty warm. You can hold your finger on it, so it's okay, but pretty warm. That is a pretty good sized pinion on there. Let me see if we can get to where you can see this, the tooth count on that sucker. Pretty sure I put a 15. Yeah, 15 tooth. You can see that these gears are exposed, so they sling a lot of dirt, and they're gonna have a lot of wear on that ring gear and that pinion gear. It actually has a hole in the bottom of it, so the dirt can get up in there onto the ring gear. But as far as the differentials and stuff go, they're set up about right. It does pull wheelies pretty easy, but it's not flipping itself over backwards. There's really no coverage, right? So it gets pretty dirty in here. It does have these flaps in the front, but this is just driving around in grass. It got this dirty, but I did drill a hole in this one so I could easily sneak this bolt out without removing it. So, because you end up taking this off a lot to get to the motor and things like that. This engine mount here to get to the center diff. But overall, really impressed with the handling. And it didn't break yet, but it did eat through that battery pretty quick. I need to get a much larger 4S battery for it. As far as power and stuff goes, 4S is going to be plenty for me. I'm not exactly into going like, 70 miles an hour with these things. I don't take them anywhere but my yard. They're just toys, right? So don't want anyone getting one of my toys and breaking someone's ankle with it. But I definitely need like, a 6000 milliamp 4S. And I'm only running XT60s because that's what all my batteries are and I didn't want to change, but the wires aren't warm or anything. I think that's plenty of current carrying capacity for my setup. This battery, pretty toasty. Was a lot of wide open throttle type operation, but pretty happy with it overall. And I'm charging up my 3S right here on my little RC shelf. If you want to see all the models I've got. And then the big hoss up there, and then there's the Max. Running that right now too. But yeah, one thing I don't like about the X Max is you gotta have 2 batteries charged for every time you run it. I like having 1 battery because I only have a battery charger with 1 charger, and batteries are expensive as it is, so I like to run one at a time. So yeah, pretty happy with it so far.